Tiger fans, may I present to you Prudy Dix Hilger, class of '57, Masters runner, presenting posthumously today. Prudy Hilger attended DePauw at a time when opportunities to compete in intercollegiate sports weren't available to women. However, in her postgraduate years, she distinguished herself as a master's level runner. For 3 straight years, in the late 1980s, Hilger placed in the top 7 of the 50 and over age group at the Boston Marathon, including a 5th place showing. In addition to the Boston Marathon, she won 64 races and finished second only 3 times while competing in the 50 to 60-year-old age group. Breaking age group course records at most races that kept records, Hilger defeated the 50 and over 5,000-meter American record holder when she won the Columbus, Ohio Bank 1 Marathon. Unfortunately, Prudy passed away unexpected earlier this month and could not be with us today. Today, however, I would like to invite to the stage with Dr. Rich Bonaccorsi, her husband, James Hilger, and daughter, Mary Stumpp.
Well, welcome. Mary is a DePauw grad. If you could tell us how Prudy chose DePauw to kick it off.
Well, I wasn't around then, but my mom, I'm a 3rd-generation DePauw alum. My mom chose, her mom passed away when my mom was 16, but she had an aunt and uncle that lived in Winchester, Indiana, and Clyde Hinshaw graduated 25 years earlier than Prudy did from DePauw. So being close to Aunt Jane and Uncle Bud was very important to her.
Another family story. Jim, tell us about your favorite athletics memory with Prudy.
I think one of the memories was when she did win the Bank 1 Marathon. Prudy was running against a gal who had broken the long-time 15-over records of a Catholic nun who was principal of a school in San Francisco. Well, this gal broke her records, and she was a force to be reckoned with. Prudy caught up at 20 miles. Prudy had caught up with this runner just a little beyond. The race was well run. They had lead bicycles with each age group leader. Prudy caught up, and I had taught Prudy earlier to drink water at the stations, like voting in Chicago, drink early and often, just like voting. Well, Prudy drank at every water stop, and this other gal who was faster than Prudy, but perhaps not as experienced, used the water stations to run ahead. And Prudy would eventually catch up with her. 25 miles to go or into the race. Prudy looked around, and the lead bicyclist said, "It's just you and I, go for it." So indeed she did, and she won the Bank 1. But one other memory stands out. Prudy ran a 20K race in Wheeling. That was normally the national championship. And Prudy had a blistering pace, broke the record by over 7 minutes for her age group, but it turned out they had shortened the course by 85 yards, and so the records were not valid. But she would have won the race by 6 minutes instead of 7. So I said, all time is fleeting. You're just fortunate that you won.
You know, I've noticed that Prudy taught us how to compete, but she showed us how to be through everything that she's accomplished and how she's behaved throughout her life. And I was wondering if you could comment on that and tell us a little bit more about Prudy.
Well, as Brian said, he married above his pay group. I was very fortunate. Prudy was a gentle warrior. She never, ever spoke ill of anyone or anything. In all the years I knew her, She knew no swear words. She knew no indecent language. The worst remark she might say would be, how could they do such a thing? Or how could he or she say such a thing? She never ran to win. She just ran because she wanted to do her best. In her first 2 or 3 races that she medaled, she was too embarrassed to pick up her medal, asking someone if they would pick it up for her. Finally, after 3 or 4 races of medal winning, she was told, you won it, you get it. So she did. But when she won, there was no elation, no high-fiving. She was too gentle and modest. She would walk up, pick up her medal, give a tiny smile, a thank you, and then quickly move to the side. When she was a senior year at Villa Dushanto Academy in Wheeling, her Catholic classmates voted Methodist Prudy their May Queen. She never wore a stopwatch. She just ran. She had won her first Masters Running Award, but when asked to submit data for her second award for the Colorado Sportswoman Hall of Fame, she declined. She said another long-time runner should deserve it, even though Prudy had beaten her every race that year. After that year, Prudy quickly won her second and third award. So she was elected to the Colorado Sportswoman Hall of Fame in company with 20 or more Olympic and U.S. national champions in many sports. 2 months ago, in a regional newspaper, had an edition about senior accomplishments, and they cited Prudy and a male swimmer's sports accomplishments. Prudy received a full page of stories and pictures. Often in the last few years, she would comment. She had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's for the last 8 years, but she wished she hadn't had it. But she just said how blessed we were. I couldn't disagree. And on that fateful Saturday, when she fell shortly after we had finished a mile walk, she had made that comment. My daughter-in-law commented that Prudy had won her last final race.
Mary, anything that you would like to add? Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to Mary Stumpp, Jim Hilger.